Today we got a fun video for you today. We're going to be getting some training in. A lot of our other videos have kind of focused on all this stuff around new gun ownership, but now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's do some actual shooting and let's really focus on training, because I think that's one of the biggest problems right now is we got a lot of new shooters without enough training, so stick around. Right now we're in the middle of an ammo shortage. I did another video recently about just gun sales going through the roof right now. So one of the most important things is not how many guns are being sold or how much ammo you have, is how proficient are you with your firearm? How much training are you actually getting, right? So today we're going to be focusing on some ways that you can get quality training as well as save a little bit of money. So right off the bat, I want to say that it's possible to get quality training without wasting tons of money. Ammo is expensive, right? So even some federal loads, if you can find some 9mm on sale, you're going to be talking about 20 cents a round. So it's going to be, a few dollars can add up really quickly. And what we really want to focus on with training is quality over quantity, right? So, one of the things I see, and we'll kind of talk about this while we're actually shooting, is I'll see shooters just staring over their sights, just trying to put as many holes in paper, thinking that those repetitions are going to make them a better shooter. So I'm going to give you a couple of quick drills today that you can practice. I'm also going to talk about some of the common errors that I see with new shooters and give you some things to think about the next time you go to the range. So today we're going to be focusing on just some pistol fundamentals as well as some rifle fundamentals, and this is all going to be geared towards kind of a home defense situation and being more confident with the firearm that you have. So we'll dive right into it, and we're going to start off with pistols. Let's start with one of the most common things that I see new shooters do. After every shot, they're looking over the sights, they got one eye closed, they're taking their time, they're just really focusing on getting the bullseye. As you can imagine, that's great for target shooting because everybody wants to hit the bullseye, but that's not necessarily a practical way to shoot in real life. The target's not just going to be sitting still waiting for 5 seconds for you to get off that one shot. So we're going to talk about how we can maybe conserve some ammo and get some more realistic training in and practice. Let's try it out. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. You'll see shooters, they're just looking over the sights, they're taking forever, trying to hit the bullseye, okay, looking over the sights. All right, you get the idea. So every shot, they're just trying to see how close did I get to the bullseye, and they'll just keep running through ammo. And the goal here, you want to hit your target and you want consistent shot groups, but hitting that little red circle in the center isn't necessarily the goal of what we're trying to do. So rather, let's focus on presenting the gun, getting good sight alignment, and we're just going to shoot one shot. And this is how we're going to conserve some ammo, is doing small shot groups and focusing on good fundamentals. Alright, I'm still getting excellent shot groups at this distance, and I'm not drawing from the holster because we're at an indoor range. We'll talk about dry fire training you can do where you practice your draw in a little while. But right now what I'm really just focusing on is presenting that gun, getting sight picture, and squeezing the trigger one time. Not necessarily focus on running all my ammo, but really focusing on those fundamentals. Next, we're going to step it up and we're going to do 2-shot groups, and then we're going to assess. So let's try this out. Ammo. We're going to try this again. Just 2 shots at a time, and then we're going to step it up to maybe 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. Now, normally when you're starting out, you don't need to go up this rapidly, but we're really just focusing on, again, not how much ammo we're wasting, but getting consistency in our presentation, consistency in our sight picture, and then squeezing that trigger. Accuracy is important, but we're more so looking for consistency. After we fired a few rounds or a few groups or run through a magazine, then we can assess the target and say, okay, where am I shooting? Am I pulling? Do those shots look good? Is my shot group tighter? And again, we're not focused on time, right? We could go faster or slower, but let's focus on building this skill set up and building some of that confidence. All right, we're gonna run through some more drills here in a second. And one of the things that I like to teach new shooters is cadence. I'll see a lot of times shooters, and you'll see this at the range if you go, they'll shoot a couple shots really quick, and then a slow shot, and then there's just no consistency to it. So I think a really good thing, until we figure out how to really throttle forward and back, get faster and slower, and build those good fundamentals, is just kind of have a shooting cadence. So if I'm going to shoot a 2-shot group, let's make the shots a cadence. I don't care if it's 2 seconds or 1 second. I don't care if it's or if it's boom, boom, and then assess and reset, boom, boom. Try to make those shot groups consistently. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we'll start off with kind of what I want you to see, and then we'll talk about why that's a good idea. So you notice those 3 groups, it's boom, 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 boom. All right, what I don't want to see is where you're just, you know, the trigger's kind of, the gun is running away from you. I don't want to see all right, so right in this situation, you see how it's kind of all over the place. It's going to be very hard to kind of isolate what's going on, and we'll explain kind of why as we go a little bit deeper into this. So now you can kind of see, shooting from the front, I'm going to have both my eyes open. I'm going to be aware of what's going on. I'm going to focus on still good sight alignment, good presentation, but I'm also going to focus on the cadence. I'm not worried about bullseyes. I'm not worried about just, you know, how fast I can shoot. I'm really just focusing on just the drill, right? Just focusing on consistency. Okay, so we're going to present. I'm going to fire 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So it's going to go boom, 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 boom. Okay. Okay. So this next one, boom, boom, maybe a slight pause so I can focus on maybe an accuracy on the headshot, but the first 2 shots, body shots, consistency. Alright, boom, boom, boom. So cadence might not make a lot of sense, but when you start to pick up your speed a little bit, you'll be able to recognize when you're throttling up too quickly and the gun is maybe losing a little bit control. You're going to recognize when you're kind of not really controlling the gun. So again, both my eyes are open. I'm going to shoot a couple of groups, and I'm just going to practice this a couple of times without talking. Right off the bat, I pushed the gun up a little bit too quick, lost the sights a little bit. All right, now that I've fired a couple rounds, I can look at the target, kind of assess, what am I doing? Am I moving too quickly? Do I need to slow down? And I can assess that. So next we're gonna be shooting my 6-hour M400, and we're gonna run through some similar drills with a similar mindset. Eyes open, good sight picture, getting on target, and then shooting consistent groups. One of the things that I get asked most often, one of the questions that I've been seeing on the websites or Instagram, is people always ask me what gun they should buy. I seldom ever get asked questions about training or how to improve their training or anything like that. So today, again, we're kind of talking a little bit about that. I think this is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as a shooter, is just learn some of these good fundamentals and then really get out to the range. And again, if you're doing it where you're focusing on small groups and consistency, you're not going to be wasting a ton of money on ammo, and yet you're still going to leave the range more proficient. You're going to see your skills go up. So we're going to go right into some rifle shooting, and you're going to notice that a lot of what we just talked about is actually going to cross over with some minor differences, and we'll talk about that while we're shooting. So this is a SIG M400 that I bought years ago on a Black Friday sale, so I got a really good deal on it. And this is just a standard AR-15 platform that I like to run and abuse. So we're going to talk about some of the exact same things, but real quick, what I'm going to talk about is the safety. So every time I bring the gun up, when I'm ready to fire, I'll select fire, and then as the gun goes down, it'll go back to the safe position. It's an additional layer of safety. So if you notice, it's in a safe position. So I like to practice this just before coming to the range. And my grip, there's different grips. I like to keep my arm nice and straight. It'll kind of wear you out going up and down, but I like that nice positive grip as I bring the gun up to the sights. So what I'm doing is when I'm ready to pull the trigger, it's ready to go, and as I come back down, it's off. So safety, safety off, safety on, safety off, safety on, and you should practice that until it becomes kind of muscle memory, right? You're gonna get like an arm workout as you're doing it, right? So when you got an AR-15, you wanna think about the safety being kind of a good fundamental in your development. Now in a home defense situation, right, maneuvering a longer rifle, 16-inch or greater barrel, is going to be more difficult. So this is going to be one that you're going to want to get some reps in, training up and down, right? A pistol, it's lighter, it's easier to move around. So if you're using a rifle or a shotgun for home defense, make sure you get some of these reps in before you go out to the range. All right, now let's add one more layer to this training equation, and that's going to be situational awareness. We've already talked about keeping both eyes open, and again, we're focusing on consistent shot groups and developing some of those fundamentals. So let's talk about what we're gonna do. So prior to bringing the weapon up from ready when you're ready to fire, just try to be mindful of what's going on around you. So that when I am shooting, I'm thinking about who's in the lane next to me. Imagine a scenario where you're in a home defense situation. You don't wanna find yourself with that tunnel vision. Now, after I've defeated the threat and I put the gun back down to like a low ready position, or I maybe reholstered my pistol, before I do that, before I put the gun away, I want to kind of make sure that I'm looking around. You'll see a lot of military and law enforcement when they're shooting or training, they'll actually do like a full body turnaround movement. It's almost as like a muscle memory reminder to assess the situation. So we're not going to do anything crazy like that, but it's something you should think about. So we're going to fire 2 shots, kind of look around, then we're gonna go back to low ready. We're gonna fire 2 shots, look around. If you're thinking about using a weapon for home defense, whether it's a pistol, rifle, or shotgun, and you're just focusing on hitting paper at the range, this is one of the most important things that gets overlooked. So we're gonna run right through it. Let's try it again. And again, same fundamentals. All right, I finish my group, I assess the situation, and then I can go back to normal. So always be thinking about that. Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're running through a lot of reps today. We're just gonna keep going, and we're gonna do 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. I might even switch 2 to the chest on one and go a headshot on the other target just for fun. All right, let's get some reps in. Two shot groups, cadence, getting good side alignment, squeezing the trigger. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, similar cadence. All right, if you're doing this consistently, we just went through 1 magazine. My arms are getting a little tired. I'm really just focusing on the same things we're talking about. Working on that safety, up and down, and focusing on consistency. Keeping my eyes open, not necessarily looking at this perfect shot group or 1-inch group. We're not long range shooting. We want to be able to shoot in a self-defense type situation and have good control of the rifle. Now we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna be running pistol and rifle again, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about some home defense situations. Another common thing that I don't see people think about is for a home defense situation, think about maybe training to the longest distance you're gonna have to shoot. So I've got a house that's got like a really long hallway that goes all the way down the living room from the bedroom. So right now I've got the target set up at 20 yards from where I'm at right now. So that's probably reasonably what I'd have to be doing to shoot from the back end of my house to the front end of my house. So I'm gonna start shooting off pistols, and again, focusing on that cadence. Can I get a good shot group on those same 12 by 18-inch targets from here consistently? Then we're gonna do it with rifles, and then we're gonna see if that longer distance shooting, am I able to be as consistent and predictable? Maybe for me, if I need to shoot longer distance, maybe I might want to consider an AR-15 for home defense. If it's, you know, apartment, smaller housing situation, and I'm comfortable with those distances, maybe a pistol's fine. Obviously, you're gonna get better ballistics out of a rifle, but that's another question that I often get asked is, do I get a handgun, a rifle, or a shotgun? And I think it depends on your specific circumstance and what you're willing to train for competency. So we're gonna try the same drill, pit Glock 19, 20 yards, and then we're gonna do the same thing with that SIG M400. If you notice, that round I was shooting a little bit slower. I'm shooting at distance, I've got a compact sized pistol. I'm not necessarily focused on bullseyes, but what I am trying to do is create consistent shot groups on the target. What I want to be able to do is focus on, am I hitting the target, am I hitting where I want to hit consistently, and can I speed up or slow down as needed? If I'm getting really accurate groups, can I speed up a little bit? If my grouping is getting a little wider, I've got longer distance, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. All right, if you notice, I've got a nice optic on my rifle. I'm able to acquire the sights a little bit quicker, and I'm able to shoot those same two-shot groups a little bit faster and a little bit more accurately. So if I had to shoot longer distance, the obvious advantage is going to go to a rifle. So think about that when you're picking your home defense weapon. It may not be as easy to move around room to room, but that might not be your concern. Maybe you think I need to be able to reach across my property. I had a friend actually just email me recently saying that they were looking at a rifle because they live on like a farm type property and they want to be able to shoot out to 100 to 300 yards. So if you need long range consistency, consider a rifle and then train accordingly. But for most home defense distance shooting scenarios, pistol's going to do you just fine. Let's get back at some more drills. Another benefit that gets overlooked in contrast when you're talking about rifles and shotguns versus a pistol, and this is one that you don't really think about very often, is that a pistol, that top of the slide and your sights moves with every shot. You know, and you have to think about that when you're trying to realign and get your sight picture back. Whereas with a rifle, I've got the benefit of an optic. I can zoom in, I can zoom out if that's an option on your optic. And the sight picture actually, I mean, it's going to move slightly due to recoil, but I'm going to be able to stay on it more consistently, which is going to help with my target acquisition and speed. So again, the goal of this video isn't to contrast the difference between rifles and pistols, but what I really wanted to focus on is, again, some of those basic fundamentals. And you can go get some quality training at the range with, you know, a couple boxes of ammo. Focus on some dry fire training. Practice your drawing, practice, you know, these safety fundamentals that I talk about where you're coming up and down, getting safety on, getting off, on again, and then focusing on 1-2 shot groups, 3 shot groups. Practice, 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 and you're gonna find that your ability to shoot with both eyes open, acquire the target, think about situational awareness, all these skills are gonna help you in a home defense type situation. And then we can drill down into some of these other drills. Then you and your buddy can talk about your shooting stance. Then you can talk about, hey, you know, lining up the grip a little bit differently. All those things I recommend before you start hitting the range, taking a class or going with somebody who knows how to shoot. But when you're actually getting down to it and you're going to the range and trying to get those reps in, these are some things that you should think about. And again, you can do it without spending tons of money on ammo and get the benefit of more training. It's not how many rounds you're dumping down range, it's what are you doing when you're at the range. I hope you enjoyed some of these tips today. I really want to encourage you to get out to the range and get some training. There's a lot of people that are focused on buying gear, but one of the most important things, part of the reason I chose my SIG M400 today and my Glock 19 was you don't need the fanciest gun. I love Glock, but you can pick them up for $400 or $500 and you can go run them and train and train and train. And I think it's better to have a good, reliable gun and quality training over the most expensive toys and accessories there are out there. So get out there, get some training. You'll have a lot of fun doing it. If you have any questions, please let us know. You can support the channel by subscribing and commenting or letting us know what you think. You can also pick up some targets or any of our gear at firststepgunessentials.com. Feel free to reach out to us. We're starting to get a lot of questions, so that's great news. But stick around, we're going to be bringing you a lot of content like this. And again, we're focusing on ways to simplify responsible firearms ownership, tackling the questions that a lot of gun owners face out there without diving too far into the weeds. And we'll do more in-depth reviews at a later time. But we really hope you like this video and stick around.